Greetings everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Challenges Guide. Now for those of you who are new to this series, or need a bit of a refresher, the Weekly Challenges are a set of 5 events that go live Thursday night, Friday morning, depending on your region. These usually consist of 4 events already in the game that, depending on your progress, may need to be unlocked, while the 5th one is a special event that usually takes place as a time trial, a one-make race, a mission trial, whatever usually comes up. So, with that out of the way, let's see what this week has in store for us. So we kick things off with the European Sunday Cup 400. This is a 2-lap race around Kyoto driving park Yamigawa, and of course requires a road car from one of the following countries you see here, and a suggested performance points of 400. So no hard limit, and you really don't have to go overkill with this, very easy. But I just want to show off this portion that I had done, and you might have seen it earlier in the week. So let's do a lap around here, and obviously with this car there's going to be some adjustments depending on the car you choose, but we'll focus on this. So we turn 1, 3rd gear, and I usually go right in, basically having the wheels right in that blue line there too, and then accelerating right on out. I try to be a bit careful with curb usage because this car in particular, it feels like it will upset it. So out of the throttle a bit, and you can see it bounces around quite a lot there. And power right on out. Now we hit right to this downhill section. For 6, 3rd gear, and again, get those wheels near the curb but not quite on, or at least not too much, and accelerate right about here. Now we'll hit right down into 8, 9, 10. So break down 2nd gear. I try not to hit these curves as hard in this kind of car there. It's like so through 11. And here we are at turn 12, 2nd gear. And again, hang on the bit there. I think you can use the curve a bit if you want a bit more rotation. Try to be careful not to do what I just did there. Then we head into 13 and 14. I usually tend to downshift right about here, just to get the car straight enough. Accelerate right on out. And then turn 15, down to 2nd gear. And once again, hold that power right about here, and you can use the curb since you're going slow enough. And accelerate right on out, onto the front straightaway. Well past all these stands here. And that is a lap around driving park Kyoto Yamigawa. Now, on to the race itself. So, best spots overtaking here I found were turns 1, 6, 12, and 5, a lot of momentum based stuff. Obviously, if you're using a car with the performance mine has, you pretty much should be around by the time turn 6 happens, so you won't even have to worry about it. But in something else, be aware of the AI turns 2 through 5, as well as 8 through 10, and 13 through 14, as they do tend to bunch up a bit. So it makes exits a bit tricky there, especially if you're going for a clean race bonus, so be mindful. Next, the American FR Challenge 550. This is a 3-lap race at Trial Mountain Circuit Reverse, and requires a road car from the United States with an FR drivetrain and 550 performance points as the name suggests. So here I'm going to pull out an old favorite of mine that I haven't used in a very long time, and that's this Shelby GT350R. That's my RC build that I've done, and as usual the SEP I've been using for it, for those of you that might feel comfortable. And now do a lap around here. This is a bit of a tricky one with how the flow really is the other way around. So 2nd gear for turns 1 and 2, and you want to really be careful to be on the brakes. It's easy to overbrake yourself, you can see here. Accelerate right on out. Let's go right uphill here. Nice, touch yourself up to the left here for turn 3. Brake right about there. 2nd gear, and use a bit of that orange part there to turn the car as well if you need to. Then there's 4, 5, and 6, 2nd gear for the first part. And just be careful with the acceleration through this part there. and then into turn 7 here, or 6 here, excuse me. My turn's mixed up. Accelerate right on down, and this will give you plenty of time to set yourself up for that corner that goes uphill. Thankfully, because it's uphill, you have some assist in slowing the car down there. But it does still help to get your brakes just right. So right about here, 3rd gear up through 7, and into the tunnel. Now here's where you want to be really careful. Turn 8, brake right about here, accelerate right on out. Very tricky to get right there. And then 9, accelerate right on through here. Now into the last tunnel, 10. You want to keep it there. And you can use there like I did, or you can do 2nd if you feel a bit more comfortable. And then through the turns. 11 and 12 and 13 here. Very tricky course there. I usually do 3rd just to keep it steady. But of course, after all that crazy stuff there, that is a lap around Trial Mountain Circuit reverse. Now on to the race. So, best spots for overtaking I found were turns 2 and 3, 5, 6 and 7, 12 through 14, and 16. Now, of course, you also want to beware of the AI in turns 1, 6, 10 and 11, and 15 there. Again, they tend to bunch up a bit, and they also brake really hard, a lot harder than you'd expect. So if you're going for a clean race bonus, be aware of that. Next, the Hypercar Parade. This is a 5-lap race at Marina circuit, and of course requires a road car, or road car in quotations, and no PV limit there. So I say in quotations because once again, you could use this, the Ferrari FXXK. As per usual, no subs, just stock. I mean, it just does it fine on its own, really. Anyhow, let's get into the race itself. So, come out of the corner here, full acceleration. And in this car, and will probably apply to some of the others you can use, but 2nd gear for turn 1, accelerate right about here, out to this curve. Now this is where you can use a lot of that to turn the car. Keep 3rd gear and accelerate right there. This will keep you barely on track there if you go to 6 extreme as I do. Brake right there, the 100 mark there for turn 4. Now that, where you go? Turn 5, excuse me. Once again, I'm getting my turns mixed up. So keep accelerating there. I want to set yourself up because the straight kind of barely slides to the left there. We're going to get 200 mark for turns 6 and 7. And I try to hit these curbs here because I feel like by doing that, I can actually get a better run out. This is something I've been doing ever since this track has ever been added. So 8. Now we come up here for turn 9 and brake just as that curbing to the right comes up. And I tend to try to keep the car about middle of the track there and slowly go to the inside and start accelerating out here and use all that curb. Get out the throttle out here and then brake, 2nd gear. This section complex here, I keep that in 2nd. I try to go out as wide as possible so then I can enter and get on the throttle as soon as possible. That's the last part here. Now shift to 3rd. A little bit of power, not too much. And then brake right about here and then start turning in here. Diving the corner as you do. And that is a lap around the Marina circuit. Now, on to the race itself. So, best spots for overtaking here I found were turns 2, 3, 5, and 10. Pretty easy corners to use all that speed there and predict the AI. But also be aware of the AI in turns 3, 4, as well as 5. They tend to bunch up quite a bit there. Their braking is really bad. As usual, recommended cars, the Ferrari FXXK, the Aston Martin Vulcan, or the Valkyrie. Basically the only way to win the race. Next, World Touring Car 800. This is a 10-lap race with 8 times fuel use and 10 times tire wear at Fuji International Speedway. Now, of course, all the tires there, 800 performance points, so you don't have to use a Group 3 car, as I'm about to once again demonstrate just for the sake of getting it done and dusted. But of course, there is a bit of a strategy change here, and you'll see that once I start talking about the race. For now, let's take a lap around here. So, the race itself, I'm just going to tell you, it's going to be wet. No matter how many times you try to start, it's just going to be wet. It'll be either full wets or intermediates. So, the hot lap here is pretty appropriate for that. So you want to brake real early, straight, turn in, and very much roll out of the power. This is a theme for when you drive in the wet, because the surface is very wet here, and you can't really use the power too much at a time, as you can see there. Because the car gets very squirmy, especially in a car with the amount of power this has. So you always want to keep your throttle steady. You know, keep it put steady on the power there. Now to second gear for this corner here. You want to be very careful on acceleration there. You want to control that wheel spin as much as possible. You will have some wet spots there that you'll hit a bit. You want to avoid those generally, because that will upset the car quite a bit. You want to brake. Every time you brake, do it as straight as possible. That way you don't slide off the track here. As you can see, I'm going right through. And you'll notice I'm being very ginger with how I'm getting on the power, how I'm turning the car and so forth, because this matters quite a bit. Especially in these tight sections like this here, you want to be very mindful of how much throttle you use, how much you get on the power, and how much steering input you do, and how much brake even that matters quite a bit. And you'll see as I'm rolling out of the throttle there on acceleration. And you'll notice even my upshifting is very different in the wet because of the lack of traction in general. And so, that is a lap of Fuji Speedway in the wet conditions. So, let's get to the race here. So, as stated, wets or intermediates are the starting tire depending on what you get, because you're just getting wet weather. No dry weather whatsoever, so you have to have intermediates or wets prepared. Rain tapers off at around lap 6, and track begins to dry on lap 8 from what I have tested, so be aware of that. Not much in recommending car choice, because you're still going to have to deal with this problem regardless, so just be careful out there. And of course for this week's challenges there, Alsace reverse in the Audi TT Coupe 3.2 Quattro, so that's for a time trial for this special event. So you'll be having the car that the game gives you, so all you're going to be choosing is just basically the colors on it. And there you go. And only real thing I could suggest here with this being front wheel drive is, remember, front wheel drive pulls the car out of a corner, rear wheel drive pushes the car out of a corner. So if when you accelerate, be sure you are pointed as you do. Same for the brakes. So that's it for this week's challenges. Hope you've enjoyed these, whether you've just logged in or you haven't logged in quite some time. If you did, then give this video a like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to tick the bell icon so you will be notified when these videos go live every Friday at 1 p.m. And so, as usual, that is it for this week. I will see you guys in the next video.